What do you get when you combine 6 Stanley Cups, a mascot that's somehow more famous than some players, and a fan base so loud they could scare a grizzly bear out of hibernation? That's right, folks. It's the Chicago Blackhawks. From dazzling dynasties to heartbreaking droughts, this team's history is more dramatic than a soap opera and twice as exciting. No matter if you really love hockey, just like it a bit, or came here because of YouTube suggestions, you will see the tale of a well-known hockey team. So get your jerseys and maybe some pizza, and let's look at the history of the Chicago Blackhawks, because you will want to stay for this. Let's drop the puck on this journey. The founding years, 1926 to 1930. The Chicago Blackhawks were established in 1926 as part of the NHL's first wave of American expansion. The team was named after the Black Hawk Division, a World War I unit in which the team's original owner, Frederick McLaughlin, served. McLaughlin was a hands-on owner, often making hockey decisions, including coaching hires. In their inaugural season, the Blackhawks played at the Chicago Coliseum. Despite a rocky start, they quickly gained recognition with players like goaltender Chuck Gardner and forward Mush March. By the early 1930s, the team had begun to find its footing in the league. First Stanley Cup victory, 1934. The Blackhawks' first taste of glory came in 1934. Led by Gardner's goaltending and March's timely scoring, Chicago captured their first Stanley Cup by defeating the Detroit Red Wings in a thrilling best-of-5 series. The final game ended with a dramatic overtime goal, establishing their place in NHL history. Tragically, Gardner passed away shortly after the championship due to a brain hemorrhage, casting a shadow over the team's achievement. Struggles and resilience, 1940s to 1950s. The next 2 decades were challenging for the Blackhawks. Ownership changes and roster inconsistencies led to years of mediocrity. However, the late 1950s marked the dawn of a new era with the arrival of young stars Stan Mikita and Bobby Hull. Hull's incredible goal-scoring ability and Mikita's innovative playing style, including popularizing the curved hockey stick, rejuvenated the franchise. By the end of the 1950s, the Blackhawks were poised for greatness. Second Stanley Cup victory, 1961. The Blackhawks came back strong, winning their second Stanley Cup in 1961. Coached by Rudy Palouse and featuring a core of Hull, Mikita, and goaltender Glenn Hall, Chicago defeated the Detroit Red Wings in 6 games. This victory ended a 23-year championship drought and established the team as a perennial contender. The golden era of Hull and Mikita, 1960s to 1970s. The 1960s were defined by the dominance of Bobby Hull, nicknamed the Golden Jet, who thrilled fans with his blistering slap shot and unmatched speed. Hull became the first player in NHL history to score more than 50 goals in a season. Meanwhile, Stan Mikita became one of the most respected players in the league, winning the Hart Trophy MVP and Art Ross Trophy multiple times. Despite their individual brilliance, the team struggled to secure another Stanley Cup, often falling short in the playoffs. Challenges and changes, 1970s to 1980s. As the 1970s progressed, the Blackhawks saw the departure of Hull to the WHA, marking the end of an era. The team remained competitive, with players like Tony Esposito, one of the NHL's greatest goaltenders, anchoring their defense. Esposito's remarkable reflexes earned him 3 Vezina trophies. The 1980s, however, were marked by inconsistency. Despite standout performances from players like Dennis Savard and Steve Larmer, the team often struggled to advance deep into the playoffs. The 1990s, Jeremy Roenick near glory. The 1990s brought new hope with the rise of Jeremy Roenick, an explosive forward known for his scoring prowess and physical play. Defenseman Chris Chelios, a Chicago native, became the team's emotional and defensive anchor. In 1992, the Blackhawks reached the Stanley Cup final, but were swept by the Pittsburgh Penguins. Though the championship eluded them, the team's passionate fan base remained loyal. The dark years, late 1990s to 2000s. The late 1990s and early 2000s were a dark period for the Blackhawks. Poor management decisions, lackluster rosters, and declining attendance plagued the franchise. The team's struggles were epitomized by a lack of playoff appearances and the infamous decision to limit local television broadcasts of games. The Dynasty Years begin, 2007 to 2010. A turning point came with the arrival of Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane, two high draft picks who would become franchise cornerstones under the leadership of general manager Stan Bowman and head coach Joel Quenneville. The Blackhawks rebuilt their roster, blending young talent with experienced veterans. In 2010, Chicago ended their 49-year Stanley Cup drought with a thrilling victory over the Philadelphia Flyers. Kane's overtime goal in Game 6 became one of the most iconic moments in NHL history. The golden age of Blackhawks hockey, 2010 to 2015. The Blackhawks solidified their place as a modern dynasty by winning 2 more Stanley Cups in 2013 and 2015. Key players like Duncan Keith, Brent Seabrook, Marian Hossa, and Corey Crawford played crucial roles in these triumphs. Toews earned the nickname Captain Serious for his leadership, while Kane dazzled with his skill and clutch performances. The 2013 championship featured an incredible comeback against the Boston Bruins in Game 6, scoring 2 goals in 17 seconds to clinch the series. In 2015, Chicago defeated the Tampa Bay Lightning to win their 6th Stanley Cup. Challenges in rebuilding, 2016 to present. After their 2015 victory, the Blackhawks faced salary cap constraints and aging stars. While Toews and Kane continued to excel, the team's depth diminished. Despite making the playoffs occasionally, they struggled to replicate their earlier success. In recent years, the franchise has focused on rebuilding, acquiring young talent, and making strategic trades. The emergence of players like Alex DeBrincat and Kirby Dach offered glimpses of hope before they were traded in a broader effort to reset the roster. Their commitment to community outreach, including initiatives like Hockey is for Everyone, has helped grow the sport in Chicago and beyond. The Blackhawks' storied history continues to inspire new generations of fans. Thank you for joining us on this trip through the history of the Chicago Blackhawks. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth sports content. Until next time.